Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Novice Nurse here, aka Pierre. So in this video, I'm gonna be telling you, I guess this is my 6th week of my medical assistant classes. Excuse the boxes in the background and everything. This is like our little storage space. So I guess it's the 6th week. So I'm gonna just go over what I've been doing for the last week. So I told you guys last week, I took a anatomy and physiology quiz. So our quizzes don't count against us, so if we fail it, it's not like we're gonna fail the class. It's just that if you pass it, you'll get points towards your grade or your final grade. And so we took a quiz last week, and I just knew that I did not pass it or do well because he went over the answers in class, and I was just like, what? That was the answer? It was not trick questions, but there were like questions I felt like could have been multiple answers. So I didn't get them right. So long story short, I got my quiz back Thursday, and I got a 7 out of 17, girl. Yeah, so I did the math on that. That's a 41%. So whatever. The points that I did get, the 7 points I did get, does count towards my grade. But yeah, I didn't do well. So our teacher was like, oh, you guys gotta do tutoring, da 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 da. So my thing is that I'm a visual learner. And so listening to someone talk about something for 3 hours is not how I'm gonna learn. So thankfully, the class and my lab also provide online modules and homework assignments. So we're able to visually see what we're doing and like interact with the answers. So like if it asks a question like, what are the stages of mitosis in order, and I get it wrong, it will explain why I got it wrong, explain what is the right answer and why. So having done the modules for the last week, I really picked up, like last weekend I did the modules, and I really started to pick up a lot of what I felt like I was missing in the class. Also because he's giving us so much freaking information, it's hard to know what part of the information is important, because he's literally just going, first of all, the PowerPoints are like 60 slides long, and he's just going over the entire PowerPoint, like just reading it verbatim and then adding extra information. So we can write notes on the PowerPoints or just write notes in our notebook, which is fine. But when I go over it, it just looks like mumbo jumbo. Like literally, like I'm like, how am I gonna remember all this? Like this is just like, might as well just read the PowerPoint over and over and over and over again, which is too much time. So doing the modules online kind of breaks down the PowerPoints further and lets you know what you need to know as far as what topics are being taught. So that's helpful. I do think I am still gonna try to do the tutor thing, because I do think that might help like further amp me up to like feel confident with my final exam. Our final exam isn't for another like 2 to 3 weeks, something like that, so I have some time, but I don't want to obviously wait till the last minute. We just started the integumentary system this week, which I feel like I'm pretty good at. I'm pretty good at understanding hair, skin, and nails. And we also did tissues last week, which I feel like I'm pretty much getting for the most part. It's just really my issue was cells, like figuring out cells, and I feel like I'm starting to get a grasp on cells and understanding how everything works, and like the understanding like what it does exactly. In my nutrition class, we're learning, I feel like my nutrition class low-key piggybacks off anatomy and physiology, just because nutrition is obviously about eating well for the body or what the body needs, and anatomy and physiology is about like the actual physicality of the human body. So we already learned in anatomy and physiology carbohydrates and stuff, and like lipids and proteins and stuff like that, and how they're synthesized and all that. And in nutrition, we're kind of just learning like about it, like it's just basically piggybacking off of that information and applying it into health and eating well. So I feel like that has helped. It's nice to take those two classes together. Also too, some of my statistic class words, like the words stratified and like different types of sampling, has helped with my anatomy class, because when we're learning about the skin, you learn about like simple squamous cell, right? And then you learn about a stratified squamous cell. I'm like, oh wait, I remember that word. We learned it in statistics. So I definitely feel like the classes are kind of like, they're kind of helping each other out in a way, because I remember certain things from other classes. But yeah, I feel like I definitely want to pass my anatomy class. Like I'm like adamant about getting that A in that class. So I'm gonna try my best to like learn and study the material that was given. I'm gonna definitely do a tutoring session or 2 or 3. before the exam, and I'm definitely going to do the online modules over and over again just to make sure I'm like 100% refreshed and understanding what I'm looking at. I don't know how he's going to do the exam. He said that he would do a study guide for us if we had time, but he said we're kind of behind because haven't been going over the slides because as fast as he thought he would, because he's been trying to make sure we understand the content. So he said he's not too optimistic about a study guide, but I really hope he gives us a study guide because this material is just like so dense. But anyway, that's pretty much what I'm doing with my classes. My nutrition class, I think I'm doing pretty well so far. I have an exam with that in 2 weeks. We're doing a study guide on Monday. We're going to go over it on Monday, so hopefully if I just study that very well, I can do well with that. My statistics class, I'm doing really well. I have an A. Well, I have an 89% in the class so far. So I just got to get 1 point up to get that 90. I'm hoping to get at least above a 93 in a class, because he said if we get a 93 and above, we will not have to take the final exam, and I'm about that. So trying to get that A in that class. And let's see, my lab class, I'm doing really well. I have a 90 in that class. My anatomy physiology lab, I have a 90, so that's cool. So I'm doing okay. I'm just like, I guess more so just worried about making sure I do well on this exam for anatomy physiology, just because it's a lot of information. It's literally like 5 chapters of information that I learned in the last 4 weeks or whatever. So I'm just like, yeah, it's a lot of information. So with my medical assistant classes, I'm still taking that every day. We've been learning EKG, which is cool. I think I told you guys that last week. And maybe just this week coming up, we're going to be learning about administration, and we're going to be doing like how to talk on the phone, stuff like that, which I heard is a lot of information. It's a lot of homework, so I'm not looking forward to the homework. But I'm glad to say that my medical assistant classes end in 2 weeks. I graduate in 2 weeks. So as soon as I finish with that, I'll have 2 weeks free to focus like primarily on school, college classes. And then obviously sometime during those 2 weeks, I'll be doing interviews and looking for a medical assistant job. So yeah, so my plan, I don't know if I mentioned this before, is I'm hoping to look for, into being a medical assistant in an OBGYN, because I kind of want to stay with gynecology, just since I want to be a labor and delivery nurse. And I feel like that would be helpful. So yeah, that's my week. I don't have a whole lot to say this week. It's like a short video since the last few videos, because it's just more of the same, just homework, studying, homework, class, studying, class, homework, studying. So yeah, it's been a lot. But yeah, I will check back with you guys next week. Next week will be my last week of medical assistant classes. And yeah, I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.